Na dança 0 graus, 45 graus, a saída do computador é dada sob a forma gráfica, isto é, quadrinhos que esquematizam as posições do corpo do bailarino segundo o ponto de vista da câmera.
I am Ana Lívia Cordeiro. I am an artist that researches body movement. My art is focused on human movement, but the results can be videos. A live performance, photography, sculpture, painting, and applications for technological devices. My father, when I was born, he put me a coulter as a mobile for me to watch. So from my very beginning, I was looking at modern art. And I believe the concrete art, that what he was doing, is more than influence. It's inside my neural system. The artist I most love, really, it's a passion I have, is Oskar Schlemmer. I saw him the first time in his films when I was 9 years old. The costume inside the environment, it's so perfect, you know, it's so, I don't know the words, it's just amazing. And I took him as inspiration. So I wanted to plan the body movement inside an environment. And this brought me to scene and costumes. And for example, I have a dance that calls 045 degrees. I have 3 versions of the same dance. What changes exactly are the costumes and the scene. I had an education based on the German dancer and theorician Rudolf von Laban, and he is the first one who did a theory of movement analysis. You can divide your movement in elements. So, for example, you have space. When you have space, you can fill the space with a movement. So you can have a movement that is almost without any articulation, or you can have a movement that's full of articulations, and you feel it this way. So those are 2 ways of using the space. You have time, so you can do something that takes a long time to happen, and then you just take this. Or you can have a quick movement. And then, since we are living in the earth, we have the gravity. And that's the 3rd element that's very important. How you use the weight. you can go against the weight doing a strong movement. Or you can just be passive regarding the weight, and then you become like heavy. Or you can be just very light or very weak. It's almost the same, but there are differences. Thinking about those elements that I learned and combining this with the video camera point of view. M means matrix. 3 by 3, it's a matrix with 3 lines and 3 columns. So M3 by 3. I wanted to do this plan of movement to the camera, so the dancer would know exactly where the camera was when he was dancing. If it was top, front, side, and this is very important for the quality of the movement. I decided to do this in a practical way, a computer program that coordinates the video and the dance. So the dancer would receive a notation that was done according to the point of view of the camera. For example, if the camera was top, then the dancer would receive a notation of the movement drawing from top. And when I planned something with computer, I was dealing with human beings. I could not say, you do this, and that's what you have to do. I had to open a space for creativity. And this means a lot today. I'm going to explain. Suppose I have this position, okay, and then after I have this position. So the dancer has to go from this to this. But this is a position, and this is a position, so there is a movement. So the dancer can create the transition. Suppose I am here, and then I do 1, 2, okay. Or I do 1, 2, or I do 1, 2. So many ways. This way, the dancer becomes involved. I was working with the dancers, and I had all these stick figures, and they had to take a sheet of paper and memorize it, and then go and creating the dance as I explained it. I mean, link all the positions to make a movement. And they were complaining, you know, they were saying, but this is so dry, you know. Then I said, you know, they are right. And then I decided to understand how could I do a notation of dance that would punch them, that would touch them, you know, really, that it would be meaningful to them. And then I began studying dance notation, Laban notation, Benes notation, Noah Eshkol notation. And all the notations were very symbolical, complicated notation that you had to study years to understand the symbols. And then I said, why not to think about a notation that describes the movement the way the eye see the movement? For example, if I do like this, everybody sees a circle. But that's because your eye has a persistence. Your eye keeps the position of my finger, and in your brain, you make a circle. So based on this, I decided to begin researching. As this was something very personal, I decided to give the name Anna. That's the name of my grandmother, and she's my best friend, was my best friend. And then I said, Nota from notation, Anna from my grandmother, calls Nota Anna. This time I decided not to do alone, and I met Newton Lobo, and we began to research, and we were updating according to the technological new devices. And now we arrived to a sculpture that is based on the movement notation is really the movement notation transformed in 3D. We have an application for mobile phones, smartphones, and which means we are really able now to transform Nota Ana in a notation that anybody can use, any place, easy. Because it's easy. Even a child can understand this. When I was young, you went to a museum, for example, and you see a concrete painting, and then it was, oh, this looks like the sea with the sky. It was a figurative interpretation of an abstract work. It was very normal. For me, horizontal means horizontal, vertical means vertical, and there is a meaning in this. And so when I, for example, I'm dancing and say, where's your center? I say, it's vertical, because I'm standing up. And I know when it's almost vertical, which means it's not vertical. So this is very important, to understand that the geometry is inside you and has a meaning that's not to be interpreted as a figurative element. It's important to say, we know so much. We have such a sophisticated culture, and human beings did not find, till now, a way of writing a movement. Like if I talk, you can write the words. If I'm playing a piano, you can write the notes. You are shooting me, you have the images, the way of talking through images. But if I do this movement, it's gone.